Hi everyone, my name is Gary. Welcome back to Spirit Tech. Today we're going to talk about a topic which has been elusive in terms of scientific evidence, but has been nonetheless a subject of many popular science fiction novels and films. But recently it has been gaining traction in popular culture as potentially a very real phenomenon, with works such as the Telepathy tapes. And as you probably guessed, I am talking about telepathy. What is telepathy? And if it's real, how many people possess that ability? Do you possess that ability? It is my belief, based on evidence I have seen so far, that everybody has potential for telepathic abilities. In my research, I have identified 3 major areas which are necessary to overcome in order to discover your abilities. And those are skepticism, distractions, and pressure. Just like if you don't believe that you'll ever be able to swim or ride a bicycle, those beliefs can actually prevent you from mastering those activities. So it is with any other skill, including telepathy. Telepathy is a mental task. And just like with any task, and especially the mental tasks like reading or solving math equations, it is very important to be able to stay focused. Even more so with telepathy, seeing as for most of us, this ability is not strongly developed. Throughout the day, we are distracted by many thoughts looping through our mind. Many people will tell you of instances when they would think of a person and shortly after they would get a phone call from that person, or maybe they would randomly meet them on the street. Those are rare instances where telepathic connection does get through the chatter of the mind. But if we had the ability to keep our thoughts under control, our mind quiet and focused, who knows how many more subtle telepathic signals we could perceive. Learning to eliminate distractions is a major step towards developing your telepathic abilities. The third obstacle: pressure is a convenient excuse for fake psychics, but it is also a real obstacle for real psychic ability. Like with any other skills, most of us can relate to the fact that when you're trying to perform under pressure, you're not going to do very well. Unless you're one of those special cases where pressure actually makes you perform even better than usual. The compounding effect of those 3 obstacles is preventing us from discovering and utilizing telepathic abilities. With that in mind, I have designed the Third Eye Opener protocol in order to circumvent those obstacles and help participants see just how telepathic they are and how much more telepathic they can be. And I wouldn't be talking about it with such certainty if I didn't already see some convincing results, but I'll come back to that later in the video. The session begins with a 5 to 10 minute guided meditation. I guide the meditations when I conduct the sessions myself, but any other guided meditation recording that facilitates relaxation and focus can be used. Or even just some soothing music, or even a quiet place and a timer, as long as it's enough to put the participants in the right state of mind. After the meditation, we engage in 2 stages of creative exercises, which involve drawing. And that part serves 2 functions. It allows us to circumvent the skepticism by engaging the creative faculties of your mind. The 2 brain hemispheres have distinct functions, and the left hemisphere is typically associated with analytical and rational thinking, while the right hemisphere is responsible for intuitive and creative abilities. And so when you are engaged in a creative task, your rational abilities naturally subside, giving way to your intuitive capacities. And finally, the participants are encouraged to have fun and not expect any results, but just be creative and explore. And even in the worst case scenario where nothing really works and they are unable to send or receive any accurate information, they end up with some nice drawings and the memories of pleasantly spent time. And that setup eliminates the pressure to perform, or at least reduces it to a significant degree. The setup is pretty simple. All you need is a quiet environment where you won't be disturbed. Some art supplies. I used colored pencils because they're easy to use. You can quickly produce a sketch or a drawing, and they are mess-free and beginner-friendly. But of course you can use any type of media like acrylics or watercolors, anything that works for you. You would need a clipboard or some kind of barrier, and I'll explain more on that later. You will need some images, and best if they are printed. Or you can also use objects instead of images. It should be something that is easy to project, details that stand out enough that you can form a clear mental picture that you can send to the receiver. And it's even better if it has some kind of emotional significance for you. If you pick an object with emotional significance, make sure that it's not something too private so you can show it to the group, for the sake of comparing it with the receiver's drawing afterwards. Finally, you generally need a group of people, and the more people are engaged in this task together, the better. But you can do it with just one partner, especially if it's someone you've known for a long time. There is evidence that good friends, spouses, and siblings in general are able to develop a certain degree of telepathic communication between them. If you're not able to find a group or a partner, and you're not able to join one of my Zoom sessions that I will be posting very soon and I will talk more about later, you can always try doing it by yourself. It won't be as easy, but it's worth the effort. One possible way, if you're doing it by yourself, is perhaps putting in a prompt into a image generating AI model, vague enough that you can't really predict what the image will look like, and then draw the image and then hit the generate button. Let's talk about what your session would actually look like. Step 1 is, of course, the meditation. You start with everyone getting comfortable and either having a conductor performing a guided meditation, or you listen to a recording, or you set a timer and everybody just meditates silently for 5, 10, or 15 minutes. 10 minutes should generally be enough. After that, we break into pairs. After the pairs are decided, we begin stage 1 of the experiment, at which point the projector will choose an image or an object to project to the receiver. and make sure that the receivers never see the object or the image before the conclusion of stage 1. In order to achieve that, you can use a big enough clipboard to hide the image or the object behind, or any other type of barrier. And then the projector would focus on the object or image, imagining it as clearly as possible and projecting it outwards towards the receiver. And the receiver's job is to just be open to anything that comes in. It doesn't matter if it's their own thoughts or something that appears to be their own thoughts, random images and impressions. Anything goes, and anything goes onto the paper. There is no pressure to perform, and the more fun you're having just creating a piece, the more likely you are to actually get some significant matches. Give it 15 to 20 minutes, maybe 30 or even longer. It's really up to you, as long as it doesn't feel rushed. After which point the projector reveals the object or the image, and we review the results. And then the pairs switch, and the receiver becomes the projector and vice versa. In stage 2, instead of holding a pre-selected image or object, the projector or transmitter draws a picture of their favorite activity. The more you enjoy the activity, the stronger is the mental or psychic impression of it in your mind, and the stronger and clearer the signal will be when you project it to the receiver. And then the receiver once again focuses on staying open and creating without judgment, just having fun and putting on the page whatever comes in, thoughts, impressions, shapes, colors, textures, even words. As I said so many times in the past, this channel is about practical spirituality. For me, it means that I don't want to give you anything that I suspect would waste your time in any way. So the fact that I am making this video and sharing the protocol with you is because, as I briefly mentioned at the beginning, I did conduct the experiment and I did see some promising results, which I'm going to go ahead and share with you right now. These first 2 images are my favorite example of the stage 1 of the experiment. Now, the UFO didn't make it into the receiver's drawing, but I find the match in the color scheme and the composition to be extremely impressive. The jagged tree lines, the greens, and the greenish yellow or yellowish green in the middle all correlate with the top image. You can even see little droplets of water between the tree lines, indicating the fogginess that can be clearly observed in the top image. The second example is from stage 2, where the participants were projecting an activity. It's pretty self-explanatory and straightforward, and it is amazing that both the receiver and the transmitter have depicted tennis. It's not entirely impossible to be a coincidence, of course, but the odds are pretty slim. The last example might not appear as impressive, seeing as the theme of the drawings is completely different. But nonetheless, I also wanted to show it to you to demonstrate that while it's not always possible to capture the exact mood or activity, you can sometimes catch certain details of the drawing itself. And it might be a bit of a stretch, but both images have a tree in the middle, albeit a different type of tree, and 2 circular shapes to each side of the tree, which would be the moon and the black hole and the apple and the squirrel's tail. And I find it interesting because the tail makes a spiral, and what appears to be a black hole is also essentially a spiral, or performs a function that's associated with a spiral motion. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you've learned something new. If the topic has intrigued you and you have any questions or experiences to share, I invite you to do so in the comments or in my Discord community that I will link down below. And as I promised, I will also share the link in the description for my upcoming meetup events, where I will be performing the Third Eye Opener protocol events over Zoom. And I will be posting more information on my website, which will also be linked down below, with additional ways to participate or contribute to this research. I want to thank you for watching this video, and by doing so supporting my work. If you want to support me even further, please leave a like, share the video with whoever you think would be interested, subscribe to my channel to see my future projects and videos. I wish you the best of luck, and I'll see you next time.